coming with another viewer special, and it's for AnimeGod500. How you doing? Question 1. If you have been watching it, do you think Season 2 of Sonic Boom is an improvement over Season 1? I haven't been watching it as well as I would have done with the first half of Season 1. Little things I notice, particularly what little clips I see, they're taking more pot shots at themselves, and the animation does seem to be a little bit sharper, but that could just be due to the fact that the ratings are up, they've got a much bigger budget for it. So far, from what little I see, it's good. I mean, particularly with when there was a nice callback to the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog's theme song, when he's dealing with one robot that's dealing with Erwin Fertilizer, which I thought was an interesting play on things, but what little I've seen, it does seem to be good. Now, Sega, I'm just going to say this the once, can we have a Sally Acorn cameo in this? Just say, that's all we want to know, because I'm a Sally Acorn guy. I know what a good character is. Question 2. What are your thoughts on a situation with JonTron? I don't really know the situation per se, because as most people know, one of my mandates online since 2012 is I stay the hell away from drama, because it just ain't worth the time of day, people. Because I'm not going to go into personal specifics, but ever since a whole bunch of us distanced ourselves from one particular person whom I shall not name, because that person does not deserve any credence whatsoever, anytime I see drama, I'm like, yeah, I ain't doing that. Here is the line of the sand. I shall stay in non-drama. Drama can stay over here. Not doing it. So, with regards to that, I don't know the whole skinny with what's going on with JonTron, and again, not particularly looking to get involved with that, you know, just leave it alone. Question 3. With IDW now owning the comic book rights, Sonic the Hedgehog, how long do you think they will do a crossover with Transformers, considering both franchises both feature robots? Also, how do you think it would work? It's a very interesting question. I think it depends on what tone they're going to go for. I think if they went with a tone similar to Satam, where it's dramatic and serious, but there's enough humor to lighten the mood enough so it's not completely on edge, then I could see that working. I think one way in particular is, and this is something I find as a writer, is if you're going to do a crossover, you've got to find a means of bringing the two worlds together that will work. You know, you can't just be like, oh, they're suddenly there. It's like, what? No. I mean, when IDW do a crossover with Ghostbusters and Turtles, it makes sense. They're both in New York. It's set in the 80s at the time, and Turtles came out as a comic book in '84, and the first Ghostbusters movie was out in '84 as well. So you have that. You know, they're already in the same city, and also depending on where Sonic is actually going to be based when the IDW comic of him comes out, because I really hope, to the good graces above, Sega are not going to pull this stupid crap again where it's like, oh, they've always been on Earth. Say what? And I love Fleetway. You know, there are some things that I agree with, some things they did that I agreed with, and there are some little misgivings. Nothing major, just like, minor little quibbles. But I always like the fact that with Fleetway, Mobius is its own separate planet somewhere out in the galaxy. In Archie's 124 and 125, they establish the premise that Mobius is Earth thousands of years in the future, and I'm like, what? No. just no. And I think that's Sega meddling with things, because obviously if you look at Sonic Adventures 1 and 2, Sonic is interacting on Earth with humans and what have you, and I'm like, you know, I get why Archie's did that, because they're told by Sega, look, you gotta work this into the story. The only thing that I agreed with in that particular story arc with the Zorda is how Sonic, Sally, and various other characters have human characteristics about them due to what is referred to as gene bombing in Mobius's ancient past, where there's human DNA in them, because it's the only thing that would make sense. You know, why would they have sentient intelligence? Why would they have opposable thumbs and limbs similar to that of a human being? So that bit, I looked and thought, you know what, I can accept that. That makes sense, because... And here's the thing, logic and reason does exist, folks. There is a beginning to an end and a rhyme to a reason. And when I read that particular piece in that issue, it's just like, I can buy into that. That makes sense. But Mobius is Earth? No. So, I think it will have to be an event like, let's say for the sake of discussion, Megatron opens a space bridge, whether it be on Cybertron or Earth, and that somehow connects up with an event on whatever Sonic's world will be called. I still think Mobius Sound is a better idea than having them on Earth, because it's like, no, come on guys, come on. Have it as two separate worlds, because that's just, you know, that's just logic. It'll have to be like a space bridge, or I don't know, Sonic happens to open up a dimensional tear in the special zone. That's the only logical thing I can think of, because you can't just have a situation where one party is there and one party is there as well. It's like, no, you gotta have an event. And when I say an event, not like Marvel are doing, you know exactly what. I ain't gonna go into specifics, because I've heard of the things they're doing with Marvel, don't want to know. When I say an event, like a wormhole is opened up, or, you know, a dimensional tear, it'd be like if you tried getting Kit from Knight Rider on Mobius. You have to find a way of, how does he get to that? You know, you gotta find a plausible explanation. That's how I would have gone about it, you know, have a space bridge, or, you know, somehow the special zone goes wrong and Sonic and Megatron end up in the same place. That's what I think. Those have been your questions for this week. You know how the shtick works by now. Leave a question in the comments section below, whether this is YouTube, Dynamic Night, VidMe, any of my social media outlets, or River City Gamers. How you doing? With the hashtag AskTheKnight. But until then, ask again.